Hello, hello! I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I give questionable writing advice through running metaphors. How do we prepare for the unknown? Today I set aside my running clothes and small breakfast for tomorrow's 10-mile cherry blossom run. I've run the race once before, but I still treat every race like it's my first. I plan my full night's sleep, I study the race course, I set aside my light breakfast, a banana and crunch bar, and then I line up my clothes and gear. For those who don't know, this race is going to be pretty large, which means I need to pick up the race packet in advance, which is how I end up with the running shirt for the race. I don't normally wear the race shirts at that race. It's like wearing the band shirt at the band's concert. Unless there's a theme, in which case I did wear the St. Patty's Day 5K shirt at that race. Tomorrow I'll be wearing a bright green New Balance shirt, unless it's cold, in which case I'll be wearing an orange Virginia Tech shirt to stand out better. I try to do as much as I can in advance, that way I don't need to think at 5 in the morning when I'm stretching and prepping. No matter how many races I do, there will always be unknowns. Tomorrow's weather is set to be 30 and quite windy, which I'm hoping will be milder, as today is a beautiful, warm, sunny day after that morning terrible thunderstorm rolled through. I feel fine today, but I may sleep wrong and wake up sore tomorrow. I prepare as much as I can to limit these various factors. I'll arrive at the race early tomorrow so that way I can do a full stretch, go to the bathroom one more time, and then get to a good starting position so that there are less people for me to weave through initially. Last year when I did this, I was both very unlucky and lucky. After I warmed up, there wasn't enough time for me to go to the bathroom, so I just ran the race. Luckily, I prepped in advance and there were no issues during that race. This is the end of my tangent with bathrooming to write, and now it's back to your regularly scheduled running to write. How does all this prep talk fit in with my writing? I was accepted to be a vendor at this year's Balticon. That is terrifying, as I've never sold a book in person before. This is a massive unknown for my writing, marketing my book, and overall sales. Here's everything I've done to prep thus far. Number 1, shiny things. While selling my book is the end goal, I'm bringing a lot of bonuses to attract the eyes of Balticon attendees. From bookmarks to magnets to stickers, I have all the basics I could think of. These are the shiny things meant to attract people to my table and, more specifically, my book. I have praised the beautiful Meeble art cover designs, which you can see right here, and so I'm going to put those front and center on the bonuses in the hope that they'll garner interest. Number 2, plan the table. I'll have a 6x6 space and a table, which is a lot of room to work with, and also not that much. My books have a dark blue background, so I got a golden colored tablecloth to make them pop. There's also space behind the tables. When I went last year, certain vendors had huge banners displaying either the books or themselves. In fact, the first thing I saw when I walked into the dealer's room was a huge 8 to 10 foot tall banner and a maybe 6'3" author standing right next to it with an even broader smile. Needless to say, I went up, talked to that author, and purchased their book. It was a great read. I'm almost positive that author will be there this year as well, so I plan on going to them, saying hi, and purchasing another book in their series. They had an amazing display and one which immediately drew my eyes. I didn't go all out with a giant banner, but I do have a reasonably sized poster for my book 1 cover to show off that beautiful art. I'll likely create a second one for my second book to stand parallel to the first. Because I'm such a huge fan of those cover designs, I removed all text from them in these posters. That includes the title, my name, etc. All that's left is a chance to showcase the art. Was it the right decision to remove my novel's title and my name from those posters? I don't know. I'm going to have to find out. There are too many unknowns. I have no idea if anything I'm doing is right or wrong. If things go terribly at Balticon, I may have to change the name of this channel to Running to Write Wrong. Anyways, I'll also be using my dinner table to practice so I can see how everything visually looks. Speaking about displays, I picked up these tiny plastic book stands. While I'll have some books laying flat, I also want to have a few angled upwards, or at least one of each book angled upwards, so that way they're easier to see from a distance. Based on my best judgment, I'll adjust the displays each day. If the posters are too cumbersome, I won't set them up. If I have too many of the hundreds of bookmarks spread across the table, I might just start throwing them at people who walk by. Don't worry, I won't actually be assaulting strangers by throwing paper at them, but I do want to think outside the box to stand out. Number 3, to gimmick or not to gimmick. I considered getting a spinning wheel to give away prizes. One of the vendors did that last year and they had a nice crowd where they were giving away bookmarks, free books, and Amazon gift cards. I opted not to do this. I may in the future, but I decided that for my first experience as a vendor, I didn't want to juggle too many things. Once I get more comfortable with the space and being a vendor, I'll experiment with what I do at the table. Number 4, know your stuff. A person walking by may study me, my book, and my display for up to 5 seconds, if that. I need to have my elevator pitch ready. Following through is X-Men meets Stranger Things. Boom. Sure, that's overly simplified, but it conveys my core idea. It's easy to imagine and easy for a potential reader to recognize if they have a lot, some, or zero interest. Like stretching and going for regular runs to prep for a race, I need to know my book inside and out. Not only that, I need to know what hints to drop and what spoilers to avoid. Following through has a slow burn of an opening. All those little details pay off by the end for those who stick with it, but the first third is initially light on the action. I need to have Falling Through and Expanding Cracks details ready to go at a moment's notice and spin in a countless number of ways. To do that, I'll be practicing my small pitches in front of the mirror during the 2 months between when I record this and when it'll be uploaded. Number 5, spreadsheets. I'm tracking everything. I've tallied all the purchases I've made in association with Balticon. The event is providing its own tax number, and I need to track all related costs. I've got an itemized list of everything I've purchased thus far. From that, I calculated the combination of book sales I need to break even. Long story short, this will likely be a loss the first time I do it. The more events I go to, the more those overhead costs will be spread out, and the closer I get to a positive mark. Number 6, get help. My amazing wife will be joining me at Balticon. She'll be helping me run the table, and she's been working on something to help with point number 1. As a reminder, that is shiny things. Adriana went all out. She made a small number of perfumes to go along with different parts of the story. There's the Void, which is an ozonic and otherworldly smell with hints of peppermint and peony. To go along with the ancient market, there's a scent with a richness and lots of spices, including vanilla, ginger, and cardamom. I could not be more impressed with the unique scent she's created for different points in the story. This is quite a cost investment for an experiment and one will likely not make back, though it is an unusual bonus for people who buy the book and perfume combination. I've been bouncing ideas off of her for how to sell my books and listening when she describes them to her family. Honestly, she is much better at promoting my books than I am. What she sees in my book is there, but it's a completely different way of thinking about the character struggles and tension in the stories. My brothers motivate me to run my absolute fastest during a race. If you can bring on extra help, whether you're selling books or running, I say do it. And lastly, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Right, the books. This is what it's all about. There are many different factors to determining how many books to bring. I'm going with a 5-to-3 ratio between my first and second books. I talked to coordinators, other vendors, and attendees to get to the magic number of 50 copies of Falling Through and 30 for Expanding Cracks. I consider 30 total book sales to be decent, 50 to be great, and 60 to be outstanding. More than that, I want to establish connections with potential readers. I would much rather sell 30 books and get reviews from more than half of them than sell 50 books and get maybe 10 reviews. I also want people to make that connection so they'll come back for later books in the series because they like me as a person, rather than buying Falling Through and never coming back. There are a lot of unknowns, which I plan to bash through in stride. Don't worry, I'll be recording a live episode the Monday after Balticon. There I'll be sharing the juicy anecdotes, lessons learned, and total sales. I'll be transparent about my successes and failures. If you're in Baltimore over Memorial Weekend, consider stopping by and saying hi. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write. If you enjoy me appeasing my unending fears about selling my book in person, please press those like and subscribe buttons. Let me know in the comments how you sold your books, or what factors tend to attract you to buying a book. I post my running and writing progress on Instagram and Twitter as Running to Write, so be sure to follow me and join in with your own thoughts. Don't forget to sign up for the Running to Write monthly newsletter if you want regular updates on my story musings, pitfalls, and lessons learned. The link is in the description below. This episode has been brought to you by NCALIB. He's a creative authortuber who focuses on the supernatural world. His videos include creature spotlights on all things which go bump in the night, and he has 2 Vela series about vampires. His second Vela series, The Vampires of 1863, is heating up. Lisa Cooper bit the wrong person and now she owes new allegiances. Not to mention there's a supernatural enforcer on her trail. See you next time. Until then, prep for the unknown.